Hey there everyone, and welcome to eSGT GT3 series. What is this, round 2? We're only in the second round. Round 2, Division 2. We're at Autopolis today, and quali should be underway in just a little bit. See Raccoon coming out in that Mazda RX Vision concept car, that really cool livery on there. We saw Raccoon in a few really good battles last week, so hopefully we'll get a bit more of that coming forward here. That'd be pretty fun. Just gonna take another look and see what's going on here. Hey Oscar, supporting Andy, Shadow RLM. You know, hopefully Shadow does even better this time around. I remember last week Shadow felt like they were struggling a bit in qualifying and in the race, but hey, they didn't come in last, and that counts for something, especially when you feel like you're not up to pace at all. So hopefully this week, a little bit better. Autopolis is a tough course. It's a really tough course, especially on cars like this that rely pretty heavily on downforce to make their grip, because racing close here in the dirty air is just hard. It's a very twisty, curvy track with lots of sweeping turns, which is awesome, don't get me wrong. It's a lot of fun, but man, and cars with big old wings and big old splitters and canards and diffusers, like cars that obviously need downforce to make their grip in the corner. Autopolis can be a bit of a nightmare when you're following behind somebody, especially in the sections that we see Ignitus and who's that in the, not Zinho, Zemanel. I don't know that name, so that may be somebody replacing P Racer, I think was their name. Not P Racer, P Rodello. Man, you know what, we might as well do this. We might as well bring up who's in the division, because now I can't remember people's names, which is not ideal. Who was I thinking about? Let's see. I was thinking about Zemanel is actually on my original list, so it looks like maybe whoever was driving in this livery was being replaced by the other person. So in any case, looks like some people are coming through the last corner. See that long sweeper? This is what I mean about these long sweeping corners. So now we're back onto the front straight, and we're going to stay on board here with Ignitus through one lap of Autopolis. I don't know the corner names. Probably should have pulled up a map, but I didn't. So we're just going to call them turn 1, 2, 3, etc, etc, etc. So turn 1, hard on the brakes for that. Not too tough a corner, but it is slightly downhill, so it can kind of catch you going wide on the outside there, and then you go hard on the brakes for this sweeping hairpin here, like a 90 degree, not really a hairpin actually, so 90 degrees for turn 2. Double left here, turns 3 and 4, and then you got a really fun hairpin right here. You got to stay patient and get on the gas and use as much of the track as possible there. Then just a slight lift for this sweeper here. No need to hit the brakes. Back on the throttle you go. Another place to be really careful when you're following behind other cars. And then hard on the brakes for this hairpin. This hairpin is tough. I see people apex it early. I see people apex it late. The only thing that I see in common is that this corner will mess you up. That apex is so off camber. It'll do it. Then onto the brakes for this turn, a little faster than you think, but still need to be respectful of it. It is downhill into a long right-hand sweeper, followed by immediately a left-hand sweeper, and then you have kind of a double right here. I guess I'm really bad in this section. This last sector, I'm awful at. Ooh, Raccoon having a little trouble too. Exactly right there. That left-right complex combined with the hill kind of messed the car's balance up a bit. It's hard. And then here we go, going through that last turn again and back onto the start-finish straight. And that's a lap around Autopolis. Hopefully Raccoon can get a better one soon, but let's take a look and see what times people are setting now that we are truly underway. Bad Guy Cali goes first with a 43.737 so far. Ignitus a little over a tenth behind that. Why can't I see? We got display all. Yeah, right. Okay, well, in any case, there we go. Got Ignitus with a 43.8 right behind. Zeminel with is about a tenth behind Ignitus. Shadow within a tenth of that. I expect, though, this first lap, people are kind of bunched up, having to be a little bit slow. Again, they're in people's dirty air, so it's a long qualifier, 10 minutes. I expect that people will spread out a bit and get a better chance at the lap over the next couple of laps here. It is a fairly long lap. As you can see, people are doing 140 somethings around here, so it takes a bit to get through it. That out lap ate up about a minute and 50 seconds for everyone. So in a 10-minute quali, you're not going to get a ton of laps around here, so you are going to want to back off of someone. Like right here, Zinho is right in Suisse's dirty air, which, you know, sometimes can't be helped. But if I were them, I'd back off in this last corner before starting the next lap. As you can see, they're going wide right there, caught out by exactly that dirty air that I was talking about here. Oh, what is this mess? What was that? Hold on, give me the full camera. We got a lot going on. Salty Towel out here, holding on to 9th place. We got some new times being set. Raccoon jumps up to 3rd place. Nice job with a 43.6. Almost a second quicker than their last lap. Who else has jumped up? Zinho up to 4th place. Ignite is still in 2nd behind Bad Guy Cali. Looks like Bad Guy went even faster. Yep, knocked 3 tenths off. Went up to a 43.4 from a 43.7. Bad Guy replacing Avalerian today in the ERS Viper. If this is any clue, this lap time is any clue, we're in for a really good race. But you know what? Ignitus and Raccoon aren't that far back. Raccoon within 2.5 tenths of Bad Guy Cali's time. So let's see what they do by the end of this lap. Suisse jumped up to 6th place. Dropped Shadow down to 7th. I think Shadow was up at 6th for a moment. Jasmine down at 8th with a 44 flat as their best time so far. Had a 48.1 for lap 3, so they must have had an issue. Hopefully they get it together and can get a better lap this time around. Saltatau pushed down to 10th. Paco takes their place in 9th. JP in 11th. Little Mac in 12th. Racer in 13th. We've got some really fast people still sitting low. Racer hasn't put a lap together yet, so waited until they had some clear track. Very, very smart driver there. Little Mac as well, just now dropping their 3rd lap with a 144.5. That brings them up to 11th place. We catch up with chat here. Let me see what y'all are going through. Hopefully everyone's having a great day today. It's a beautiful day here in Atlanta. Nice and sunny. Wish I was outside. I hope I have more time to do so after this race since it's daylight savings. But anyway, hello to Oscar. I already said hello already. Hey, Al. Who there? Who else? Loopy Racing. Hi, Loopy. Avalerian here. Hello. Retracted the message, but I know you're here. Or you might be going from division to division. So, Raccoon got themselves up to 2nd place with a 43.5, which is very fast, except apparently Bad Guy Cali went even faster and dropped a 43.1 on everyone. So now the gap from Raccoon from 1st to 2nd is 3 tenths, and it's almost not fair. Bad Guy Cali is a very fast racer. I know them from commentating on Division 1 in seasons past. So, you know, Bad Guy Cali here just making this guest appearance, but it's looking like the racers here are going to have a lot to contend with. Racer currently on their 1st out lap and coming through the very last corner. Let's see. Let's have them cross the line, and then we'll actually take another lap on board after they cross the line. Nicely cutting that corner there, eating up a lot of that curb. It's what you do. You want to straighten that out as much as possible. Get as much speed on this straight as you can, and you need it in the Beetle. It's a great car, but it's not known for top speed. And it paid off. MOP jumped up to 4th place with a 43.6. Not bad, not bad. Just a couple minutes left in quali here. Really just a little over 1 minute, but there may be some people, yeah, there's some people who are just now crossing the line, so that will extend qualifying by a little bit until this timer hits 10 seconds. Sorry, the 10-minute mark. Racer patient through that hairpin. Ooh, misses the shift a little bit coming out of it. Hopefully that doesn't hurt them too much. Taking a nice line through this sweeper here, starting on the outside and then coming back in slowly and apexing it late. That's the way you do it. Now you go hard on the brakes for that hard hairpin I told you about. Ugh, I hate it here. So glad I don't have to race here. And it does kind of disturb the car. Racer having to deal with the rear end sliding out a bit. That's going to hurt him on this downhill straight. But again, it is downhill, so gravity helps, even if you are to mess that hairpin up a bit. But looking at these top times, Bad Guy Cali is calling it. No need to go any faster. I feel it. But looking at these top times, Racer's going to need to do some work. Jasmine has jumped up to 3rd place, and that's what dropped Racer down to 5th. I was just looking at that. Jasmine with a 43.5. Good job there. That pushes Ignitus to 4th place. Their best lap coming 2-3 laps ago with a 143.6. Maybe they can do something here at the finish. Racer up to 2nd. I was just going to check on them. Up to a 43.3. So dropped Bad Guy Cali's lead by 0.2. So it looks like we have some pretty good pace up front here. And that's going to be awesome. Akai Suisse up to 3rd place at the last minute with a 43.4. Raccoon says, not on my watch. And gets himself back up to 2nd in a 43.3. Ooh, I love last minute qualifying changes. Okay, so who's still qualifying? Jasmine looks to still be on a fast one. We're definitely going to keep an eye on that because they jumped up to 3rd and now they've been pushed down to 5th. Shadow just best their own time with a 43.8. I don't think that increases them a place too much. We'll look at the bottom in a moment here. But first, Jasmine crossed the line. Ooh, doesn't go faster, goes way slower, in fact. I think Jasmine took a nap. Okay. Anyone still qualifying? No, looks like everyone is in. So that's Bad Guy Cali in 1st with a 43.1. That's our top time. Raccoon just behind, less than 0.2 behind. Then Racer in 3rd, Akai Suisse in 4th, and Jasmine in 5th. That rounds out our top 5. So right now, the race is quote-unquote starting, but what's going to happen is everyone's going to take the green flag and get out of the race in order to change tires. This is a race with a tire requirement. In fact, let me put that up for you. I did not come up with a more pretty graphic for this over the week. I meant to. Sorry about it, but this is what you're going to see. The tire requirement, basically, you got to use the medium tires. Racing softs are the main tire of this series, but you got to throw the mediums on for 33% of the race. This is a 34-lap race, so I believe that's, what, 12 or 13 laps? Let me take a look here. Let's do the math. Yep, just over 11 laps. So just like last race, you're going to have to do 12 laps on the medium tires in order for your race to count. If you don't do it, then you get in trouble. Obviously. Do the commentators have a social media to follow? Well, we have the official eSGT social media stuff. You can see it in the banner at the top of the screen here. As for my own personal social media, I also have that. I am at eDirtyTati on Twitter and basically everywhere. There, I put it in the chat. I'm also on Twitch, but you know, this isn't about me. Looks like we're just doing a quick 1-lap race, actually. They're gonna do a full lap, probably to make sure everything runs smoothly. I probably should have been paying attention in that case. I didn't realize. Little Mac's new livery is awesome, by the way. It's very different from what we had last week. This one is, he put a little razzle-dazzle on this one. Got the eagle, we got the chrome wrap in the front. It's nice. It's nice. America indeed. Hey, Issa, am I saying that right? Let me know. Raccoon stops just short of the line, which is pretty funny. Oh, I almost snorted on stream. Let's not do that. Who is TLR Race Tech? I may have missed a few comments. Sorry, I can't pay attention to everything, but you know, I like that you guys are talking to each other in here. Victory in this one lap race. Forrest, we say, you know what? I asked him how to pronounce his name. Ah, he said just Akai is fine. Okay, cool. Thanks, Kamal. All right, settings are changed now. 34 laps, as I said. We have a 34-lap race. For 12 of them, racers need to be on the medium tire. For the rest of the race, they can be on the soft compound. Now, we saw last week a couple of drivers, Raccoon and Paco, I believe it was. Raccoon and Paco gave us such a good battle, but they decided on a one-stop strategy last week, which, you know, it's hard to say whether or not it paid off. Raccoon was able to gain a lot of positions after falling down in the order at the very beginning of the race, and part of that may have been not pitting, but Raccoon's also just a pretty quick driver. It's going to be interesting to see if they try something similar at this track, and if they do, if it's going to work out for them. Hopefully there are no crashes to kind of muddle the results. I'd like to see if it's worth running the mediums for half of a race instead of just 33% of the race and the softs for half of the race. So I'm going to keep a close eye on both drivers, Raccoon and Paco, to see what their strategy is. And it looks like we got a bit of a delay. I think Racer is still changing room settings and is going to set the room order, or should be setting the room order manually in order to make sure everyone is in their qualifying order. Let me see if we can... No, we wouldn't be able to see that. That would have been... Normally it'd be in race results, but since we did a one-lap race, these results are not the same as the qualifying. I probably should have taken a screenshot or something to note that. Maybe I can pull it up on the stream. I'll keep an eye on that, or keep that in mind next week. In any case, we'll see the order in a second here. Looks like Racer has again changed some settings. People should be jumping on track. And we'll see if that means they still need to set this room order, or if they're going to be able to just start now. Quite an elaborate start procedure we have here. What you don't see streamed is that the lobbies open about 30 minutes before the race starts. Ooh, someone's going on track. Let's go drive with them. It's Raccoon. A little practice. I feel it. Cockpit view for this while I talk. Okay, grid order set by host. So Racer setting the grid order now. But anyway, the setup for all of these races, we try to make sure that everyone gets a real fair shot at it, and part of that is making sure that no one gets stuck on track. As some of you may know, if you play this game, a lot of times if Polyphony Digital senses some network incompatibility between a racer and someone else in the room, one of those two racers will be basically barred from racing. Technically, you can get on the track, but when the green flag says go, you'll be stuck. You won't be able to drive. The game will not let you take off. And this is sort of to protect the integrity of the races, I suppose. But in any case, because of that, the lobby here opens 30 minutes before race start time, which is supposed to be 8 p.m. UTC. So it opens up at 7:30, and racers get to, of course, practice and drive around and gives everyone a chance to get in the room. Then about 10 to 15 minutes before race start, we have what's called a stuck check. And basically the room host sets a one-lap race. Everyone gets on track and they start it up. And if anyone gets stuck, that's your chance to leave the room and rejoin and hope that you don't get stuck again. Beyond that, there is a second stuck check a few minutes later when everyone returns. And if you are stuck at the second stuck check, again, you can leave the room and come back. I believe you may still have the chance to qualify, in fact, if you are stuck. But we give drivers those 2 chances to take care of any sort of network issues they may have. And so we have this elaborate start, and then we do qualifying, which we all just saw. And after qualifying, everyone does a quick 1-lap race, or just a few seconds of a race. You pop out, the host sets the grid order, and then we start the actual race, which is going on now. You see our order here. Again, top 5, Bad Guy Callie, Raccoon, Racer, Akai, Jasmine. We're keeping an eye on them. We're going soon here. Let's take a look. The lights are red. Should go yellow, then green. Or just to green, my bad. Just to green. Taking off, of course, the Viper with all that torque. Leaves everyone behind. It's a very wide start finish, but everyone's going to try to find a position to get through turn 1 here. Bad Guy Callie easily through. Raccoon holds on to 2nd. Akai holds on to 3rd. Jasmine in 4th. Racer in 5th. Looks like the top 5 is still pretty much intact. Everyone through turn 1 very neatly. Well done. Wow. Bad Guy Callie's gap is already a 2nd. That's all torque. That's that giant V10 at the front of that Viper. As you can see, the car is all engine bay and very little cockpit. No trunk to speak of. That's to fit all the horsepowers and all the torques. In any case, now we head into the more twisty part of the track. This top 5 or 6 drivers already kind of making their move. Little Mac. What's going on with Little Mac? It looks like Little Mac is giving a position back, maybe? Not sure if something happened there. See if we can't go back. My problem is that that's the wrong keyboard. Apologies. We might have missed it there because I hit the wrong keyboard. Where's Little Mac? There we go. Yeah, we missed whatever happened. They're already slowing down here, unfortunately. My fault. I'm going to keep in mind that the keyboard to my right is the one controlling my PlayStation. But yeah, tough luck there. Not sure what happened, but hopefully it gets sorted out here. Such a nice, balanced field, a very diverse field as well. That's another thing that eSGT tries to make sure of, is that only a few people are allowed to take each car in each division. For this season, every car was made available. Every GT3 car, which is not the usual case. A lot of times some of the cars that are considered overpowered or unfairly weighted are disqualified from the season, but this time people were allowed to take whatever they'd like. Man, Bad Guy Callie really out there. 1.5 seconds up. Akai with a pass on Raccoon gets up into 2nd place. Nice job there. Jasmine looking around, trying to see if they can get in there. Maybe this pack can kind of settle down and just worry about getting some pace together. In fact, there is already a nice gap between Racer and Shadow. So a clear front pack here, 1st through 5th. And then you got your mid pack starting with Shadow, followed by Saltitao. And a very tiny mid pack it is, because they're racing as a pair. The next driver is another 2.2 seconds back. That's Paco, followed by Zinho. Another pair here. So we're already starting to see a lot of separation in the field here. And then towards the back, we're looking at Ignitus, Little Mac, JP, and Zeminel. Weren't we just looking at you, Zeminel? How did you die? Oh, we missed that too. But what happened? I know we were just looking at Zeminel, and they were up with, Saltitao, Shadow. Forget Zeminel. We have a battle going on. What's going on here? Saltitao trying to make a move on Shadow. Ooh, that was nasty. I loved it. Ooh, Shadow. Shadow with the over-under in the last corner. Can we see that again? Oh, man. Went wide, forced Shallow shallow for shallow, and just came in. Shadow goes wide in the corner, so Saltito is able to dip in and get 6th place. Now, I don't know. That Viper has very long legs down the straight, but so does the GTR, and so Saltito was able to keep that an excellent pass. Oh, that was, yeah, you know, I used the right word. Nasty was the right word. That was just disgusting. All right, what do we got here? Ignitus and Little Mac still playing it nice, playing it calm. JP a little getting left behind a little bit here. Gonna have to try to catch up. It's so hard to stay in someone's slipstream in this track. Again, dirty air is going to be the biggest factor here. It's also the factor in why we already see so much separation in the pack. It's because it's so hard to follow closely behind someone on this track with high downforce cars unless you know what you're doing. You gotta know how to use that slipstream, and you know how to back out of it. You gotta know how to back out of it in these corners so you can actually stay close and tight. What we're seeing here, Racer, Jasmine down to 5th, by the way, so Racer made that pass for 4th place. We see them staying close by. These are the drivers who have figured it out. These are the drivers who know how to drive in dirty air and stay close to someone. Saltito already with a huge gap on Shadow. 1.9 seconds. The pass looked like easy work, and now it looks like Saltito's only job is to catch up to that front pack there. Shadow, meanwhile, gonna have to deal with Zinho pretty soon. Zinho coming up very quickly in that Aston Martin. We'll keep an eye on those two to see who makes the pass. Paco, Ignitus, Little Mac, still chilling, still just enjoying each other's slipstream. Paco trying to break the slipstream of Ignitus here. A little bit of a cheeky move there, trying to, or at least faking to go defensive, opts not to. Keeps the position anyway. I don't think Ignitus was close enough to really make a move there, but I suppose you never know. Zeminel still just, wow, 8 seconds back on everyone. Let's take a look and see the tires everyone's rocking. Bad Guy, 2 seconds, by the way, on the rest of the field on Racing Softs. Akai also on the softs. Raccoon softs. Raccoon started on mediums last race, as we mentioned, and did a one-stop race. Racers on the softs, and Racer, are we making moves on Raccoon, or are we just gonna chill and save fuel? Be interesting to see. Racer did make that pass on Jasmine for 5th, so they could be looking for positions here and not really looking to work together, which is fine. Sometimes you got to make a move early in the race. Jasmine, by the way, also on the Racing Softs. Saltito, Softs. Shadow is on the mediums. That would explain the ease with which Saltito passed them. And if Zinho's on softs, Zinho is on softs, I expect to see much of the same from Zinho on Shadow. Well, now, okay, now I kind of understand that pass. It's not as nasty. It was kind of inevitable. We're dealing with a big grip difference. Paco also on the mediums and holding up a pack behind. I didn't know Paco was still on mediums. Little Mac is on softs. Ignitus is on mediums. Little Mac just finally made a pass on Ignitus. It's interesting that Little Mac is the only one in softs in this group and has stayed stuck in it for the last 2 or 3 laps. I would expect that they need to make a move and get away from these drivers. Of course, no one knows what tires anyone else is on right now. So hard to tell, hard to know, oh, I can outbrake you. And looks like Little Mac finally figured it out, gets Paco in turn 1, and it's going to have to do a lot of work to try to catch up with Shadow, who is all medium, so should be easy, but I think Little Mac lost a lot of time playing around with these two guys on medium tires. JP also on the mediums. Zeminel is on the softs. So Zeminel already got that gap from JP down to 5.5 seconds. It was 7.9 last we checked. Last lap, actually, about a lap and 2 corners ago. So that gap's coming down quickly. But as we see, we got a mix of softs and mediums. Most people are on the softs. We got a few drivers on the mediums trying to get their 33% done with early on in the race. And that makes it interesting. Yeah, I would say that Shadow is doing well with the disadvantage of being on mediums. Bad Guy, just really taking no prisoners. Though Akai has kept that gap to 2.2 seconds since pretty much picking off Raccoon. And as you see, they've got 2 seconds to Raccoon as well. Raccoon maybe struggling a bit over the last couple of laps, because at first they were keeping up pretty well. But once that pass was made, Akai is ran away. MLP Racer not having made a move yet, so, but I don't know if that's because maybe Raccoon is doing their best, and no, MLP's making the move. So maybe not feeling Raccoon's pace here, but Raccoon gonna fight it and actually gets out ahead coming out of turn 1 there. Even though they had it on the outside, looks like Racer maybe didn't keep as much speed as they needed to hold on to that position. But I'm gonna keep an eye on this, and we'll see if Racer's gonna decide to make that pass, because at this point, Suisse, Akai, and Bad Guy Cali are running away. The gap to Bad Guy Cali now from Akai 2.5 seconds, but that may come down as we go through the twisty sections. The Audi is a lot better in that than the Viper for sure. Little Mac has fully run away from Ignitus and Paco and is now very close to Shadow. 1.5 seconds, so almost right in Shadow slipstream. So I expect them to make that pass very soon for 8th place and start their campaign to get back into the top 5. Well, they were never in the top 5, but you know, they can try. Put it together their quickest lap there, a 46 flat last time around here. How does that compare to what they're doing up front? Zenio just put together a 45.5, so Little Mac's gonna have to catch up. That said, Zenio's times are fluctuating. We got a 46.5 last lap around. It's a whole second, and then a 145 before that. So Zenio probably struggling to find some consistency here. Those are big swings in lap times. As the tires warm up, we should be seeing more consistency out of these drivers. In fact, lap time should probably be coming down as the tires are now warm and the fuel weight is coming down on these cars. But yeah, Little Mac's gonna have to put together some quicker laps to catch up to this pack. Jasmine, 5th place, and having completely lost Racer at this point. What's that gap? 2.3 seconds, almost 2.5 seconds. And Saltitao again is on the way. We saw Saltitao earlier get that position over Shadow. And I believe Saltitao and Jasmine had a short battle in the last race. I could be mistaken, but I feel like they did. If they didn't, hopefully we get one here. Looks like Racer still hasn't made that pass on Raccoon, by the way, which I can't imagine is on purpose. I think at this, I can't imagine isn't on purpose. I don't think Raccoon has the same pace as Racer, but maybe I'm wrong. Raccoon did eke out that kind of last second jump back over Racer during qualifying. So again, we'll keep an eye on these two. Racer, again, could just be looking to save fuel behind Raccoon in any case. Save fuel, save tires, and fight this out in the pits. Or at least use the pit stop to get closer. Little Mac on Shadow now. Hopefully they can make this pass clean. We'll stay with these two for a little bit. See how they end up doing this. In fact, give me 1 second. Gotta jump out of here and jump back in. And now I can change camera angles. Yeah, you know what? We'll go on board. I guess we'll find out, Issa. Hopefully we'll find out if a 2-stop or a 1-stop is faster. We should start seeing stops around lap 12 again. Ooh, and Little Mac has to get out of the way because Shadow, of course, has to brake way earlier on those mediums. I think that caught Little Mac a little bit by surprise. It looks like they had to move out of the last second there. Luckily, doesn't look like any harm was done. Little Mac able to get past Shadow and now can make that tear towards Zenio. But yeah, Issa, we will find out probably around lap 12. We'll start seeing people stop because once they've done 12 laps on the medium tire, they can change out, and the out lap does count. In laps and out laps count. So right at lap 12, I'm sure a lot of people will dip in. Well, not a lot, but some of the people on mediums will dip in and change the mix up, and some might just remain on the mediums. I don't know. I really don't know what to expect here. Bad Guy Cali's gap is 3 seconds. Sheesh. Akai's gap, 4.5 seconds. To Racer, who did end up passing Raccoon. I thought that would happen. I'm honestly shocked that they stayed behind Raccoon for so long. I think that was possibly a mistake, but if they were able to save a ton of fuel doing it, maybe it'll work out for them in the pits. I wasn't paying attention to see if Racer was short shifting while behind Raccoon. They do seem to be short shifting now, even in the straight, without a slipstream. So I can only imagine that Racer looks like short shifting to save some fuel. So we'll see how much closer Racer gets to Akai and Bad Guy Callie after they all pit, whenever they decide to pit. Yep, Saltatau is right on Jasmine's tail now. Looks like we should get to see, I think a little bit of lag for me and one of these drivers. I believe that was Saltatau. Hopefully that's not affecting anyone else on track. And it looks like these two are the only people on track close enough to battle. So we're gonna stay right here and see if we can get some excitement here. It's not easy to pass around here, and yet it is easy. It's hard to explain. It's hard to explain. Another little lag blip from Saltatau there. And if Jasmine is seeing that blip as well, it's probably making them a bit nervous. It's always nerve-wracking to race close with someone who's lagging, because that lag is indicative that their ping rate is too low. Their ping rate to Polyphony Digital servers or Sony servers, which means basically that the game doesn't exactly know where that car is at any given moment. You know, it doesn't know until Saltatau's PlayStation pings the servers and says, I am at this part of the track traveling on this trajectory, going this fast, and my wheel is turned at this angle, right? That's how sometimes you'll see people lag and they continue to drive off the track even though technically they're disconnected. It's because the game just assumes to keep going on that trajectory it reported. Saltatau on the brakes over Jasmine, and I gotta be honest, it looks like Jasmine just let that happen. I don't think that was contested at all. We can watch it again, but yeah, Jasmine just kind of stayed outside as long as possible, stayed wide, gave Saltatau the room to make the pass, and I think Jasmine realized it's not worth it to fight right now. I'm gonna just tuck in behind and see if maybe I could follow in Saltatau's coattails, since clearly they have some pace on me. Good job there. Really smart decision, I would say, from Jasmine, especially this early on in the race. I would not get into a battle with anyone right now, especially not someone who clearly seems to have pace on me since they caught up so quickly. Anyway, ping. What was I saying? Ah, yes. So if the game doesn't know where you are, or the game doesn't know where the person next to you is, chances are you might hit that person and not realize until it's too late. And so it makes drivers nervous to try to race close with anyone who's lagging, because again, it indicates, hey, I don't really know where this person is on track exactly at any moment, and we're racing close enough that it matters, right? A bumper length matters. JP down in last place. Zeminel made that pass, looks like a while ago. It's a 2.8 second gap, 2.9 second gap there, and I think JP is on mediums, yes, while Zeminel's on soft, so not really much of a fight there between those two. Our two front runners just kind of racing alone. Racer also technically racing alone. They've already put a 2.5 second gap on Raccoon there, so Racer on a tear. And what's funny is that despite having been behind Raccoon and in Raccoon's draft for all this time, Racer hasn't saved any more fuel than the drivers up ahead. In fact, Racer's carrying less fuel in the tank than Akai and Bad Guy Callie, and certainly Raccoon. That RX Vision is amazing on fuel. Especially if you're short shifting, which it looks like Raccoon is doing, may even be, no, I don't think they're on a lower fuel map, but they're clearly saving a lot of fuel in that thing. And Racer, having been in their slipstream for so long, doesn't look like they've really benefited from it at all. Jasmine, why are you behind Zemio? And why is Little Mac on your bumper? What happened? Can you explain? Looks like we missed the development there. I was kind of looking at the map. I don't think I saw anyone spin or anything like that. But it's possible I missed it. I usually try to look at the arrows and see if there's some drama going on where I'm not looking. But I don't know what happened there. We'll see if Little Mac can get up on them. Behind them, though, we got another pair here. It's Shadow and Ignitus. So Ignitus catching up to Shadow here. We got the two racing medium drivers here. Paco not even in the mix. Somehow Paco completely fell off of Ignitus and is now in Zeminel's clutches. Again, should be an easy pass. Paco on the medium, Zeminel on softs. In fact, we may see one of them, Paco, pit even after this lap. Zemio in the pits, Racer also in the pits on lap 11, just looking to undercut everyone else, it looks like, since they know a lot of the racing medium drivers will come in on lap 12. Good idea to try to undercut the pack and try to get out of traffic here. Let's see, Racer comes out in 9th place. Our leaders, Bad Guy Callie and Akai, have not pitted, so we're not going to really see if Racer got any closer to them, but I doubt that they did, because again, Racer just did not save any fuel in comparison to them that I can see. Zeminel into the pits to take the mediums for that stint. So everyone who pitted looks like they're doing obviously two stop races. Sorry, 2 stops, 3 stints. And we've yet to see for everyone else, but again, people on mediums have to do at least 12 laps on them. So I wouldn't expect to see any of those people in until that happens. Beautiful sounds from the RX Vision as it navigates that last sector. Raccoon not dipping in. Those front tires are looking a bit worn. That's one thing about Autopolis. All those sweepers, all that left and right, that's going to eat those front tires up there. Ooh, I forgot I should have muted my notifications, but it's too late now. All right. It's lap 13. I don't think I saw... Yeah, Shadow's still out. Paco's still out. Racer is on the mediums now, as we saw. Who else was on mediums? Ignitus. There we go. Ignitus in, JP in on lap 12 to get rid of those mediums. JP having calculated that fuel down perfectly. Ignitus is out of the pits up ahead of Zeminel. These two, well, Ignitus is on soft, Zeminel is on medium, so we should expect to see Ignitus run away very quickly here. JP filling up the tank, filling up that Corvette. Is it just me, or is it insane that JP was completely out of fuel for that pit stop? It was very, not completely, but it was in the red, so 10% fuel remaining in that Corvette, whereas we have cars that haven't even pitted yet, like Bad Guy, who's still sitting at over 25% fuel. So confusing that he wasn't able to save enough fuel in that vet. That Corvette is very good at fuel saving. You can shift it at, you know, the halfway marker, like you see right here where South to Tau, you see that red shift marker going through there. That halfway point is pretty good if you want to save a lot of fuel in a car that makes good torque like the Corvette. Typically though, even just normal driving in the vet, you shift it after the gear number where it says second gear here, where it says 2, you shift it right after that because of the Corvette's torque curve. You actually lose torque and lose power taking it any further than that. So again, not sure how JP ran out of fuel in the first stint, but maybe I missed something. Paco is now in having kept those mediums for, looks like a little bit of an extra lap. I would have thought that they were just not going to pit if they didn't come in on lap 12. I wonder if they forgot, or maybe they felt like they needed to do 13 laps for some reason, but that math ain't math, and it needed to be 12 laps. So interesting decision there to stay out an extra lap on the mediums and ultimately come in anyway. Is it Shadow who's still out on mediums from what I recall? Yes, Shadow's still out. Didn't pit on lap 14 either, so I think Shadow is going to take the one-stop strategy. So Issa, unless something, I'm not gonna say it, I don't want to jinx, but we should be able to see which strategy plays out the best from Shadow here. Now, up top, we have, yes, Bad Guy Cali, okay, Suisse, and Raccoon still out on those softs. The wear on the front tires of that Mazda at a way higher level than those of Akai, who's in now for a pit stop. Bad Guy is still out. Even the incredible understeering Viper is being kinder to those front tires than Raccoon's Mazda here. And I don't know if that's something about the Mazda's tune. These cars are on the default Polyphony Digital tune, so there are no changes, no modifications to the suspension as is, and because of that, some cars, their alignments are just more aggressive and they just eat through tires a little bit quicker, and that could be the case with the Mazda here. I'm not sure. Unfortunately, I don't know enough about its default tune to tell if it's just a monster on those fronts, or if Raccoon is just having a really hard time in these corners and is understeering a lot and scrubbing a lot of rubber off those fronts, because it just seems like their tire wear is greater than others who are still on softs who have still stayed out. Paco, did we not just see Paco in pits? We did. They forgot to take fuel. Ooh, a bad look for Paco here, having to come in, going ahead and changing those tires again. I guess why not, since you have to put fuel in it, you might as well get the absolute freshest rubber you can. You're going to be sitting in the pits anyway. But man, they can't be happy with this. The Pilt Delta is, well, they've been in the pits for a while, it looked like. A 2:18.9 on an in-lap there, whereas their fast laps were 47s and 46s. So a really big hit to have to do that twice in a row here for Paco, and that's probably going to ruin their race here. They are 13 seconds back on JP, who is on racing softs and full of fuel. Paco's going to have to dig deep and find something here to make up for that giant mistake there. Is that everyone then? I think that's everyone except Raccoon and Bad Guy Cali. Perhaps even, no, Shadow, of course. Shadow hasn't pitted. Akai gonna try to make that pass here. Should be able to make it easily enough. I don't expect drama from them to make this pass. They should be able to outbrake Shadow, no problem here, but they don't. They don't even try. Well, they end up inside anyway, but an interesting decision to try that so late into the corner instead of right in the braking zone. Racer, of course, coming right up, gonna try to make the same pass on Shadow. But what I was getting at is I was trying to find who else owes a pit stop. It looks like Jasmine, South Tatao, Raccoon, and Bad Guy Cali. So our whole top four owe pit stops. I expect to see some of them soon. You're gonna have to fit in your 12 laps of mediums in at some point, and it looks like maybe all four of these people are just going to wait and do a one-stopper. I don't know. I mean, 20, you stop at lap 22, I believe, and that's just a lot more laps to go on mostly dead softs, if you ask me. But I haven't been driving around this track all week. I have not timed the difference between a one-stopper and a two-stopper. Maybe they found that it is worth it to have to lap around with such high tire wear rather than taking that second stop. Because, again, for another time around, Bad Guy, Raccoon, Saltatao, And looking like Jasmine, yes, all are going to skip pit lane and enter lap 17. So yeah, I think these folks are also on a one-stopper. They just started on the softs. Shadow still on those mediums. Racer surprisingly not able to make that pass. We saw Racer coming up on Shadow at the beginning of last lap, and that's just a testament to how twisty it is around here and how hard it is to stick around and make a pass on someone, because Racer is on brand new mediums, whereas Shadow is on these old mediums, and yet it took Racer literally an entire lap to finally get past the Viper, who can't stay out much longer, just looking at the fuel there. So we should probably expect to see them in soon. What else is going on? No one else is really close. No one else is really... Ooh, I lied. Saltatau and Jasmine or Saltatau and Raccoon rather are at it. Now, are they at it? Like, is someone going to dip into the pits here and disappoint us, or are they really at it? Bad guys into the pits. Our leader. These two are still good on fuel for now, so probably don't need to come in, and they won't. Saltatau gets alongside the Mazda. That GTR has way better top speed, but Saltatau's around the outside. Raccoon on the inside. They're going to stay together. Ooh, Saltatau. I think that was just lag. I don't think they actually touched the grass. Looks like they're right back on track. Still side by side as they enter turn 2. Saltatau just a little bit ahead, is going to have the inside for the double left-hander, but Raccoon is sticking with them because Raccoon knows maybe I can have the inside for the hairpin. Here it is. Oh, this is nice. This is fun. Okay, Raccoon still up ahead. Saltatau again. I have the inside for the sweeper. I can make something happen here. Also, we'll have the inside for the hairpin. I think Raccoon finally has to give it up. Raccoon goes ahead and slots in behind Saltatau. That was a nice little bit of driving by both drivers to stay clean, stay side by side, and just figure out, well, which one of us is going to get this position. Saltatau holds it, gets up top, and I think they're going to take a pit stop here anyway. And if they do, this will be the second race in a row where we watch Saltatau make a brilliant pass just to jump in the pit lane anyway. Raccoon could possibly stay out. Again, when we last looked at Raccoon, they were saving a ton of fuel. People were approaching the 25% fuel mark, and Raccoon was still sitting on half a tank. So Raccoon doing a great job in that Mazda. Let's see, we're gonna stick here for a second and see if Saltatau jumps in, but I think I see another battle going on, so I want to switch to that. Let's see, crossing the line here. Nope, Saltatau's not going in, but Raccoon will jump in. And what's going on here? We have Shadow and JP, both on softs. Shadows, or JPs, are a little bit older than Shadows, but both together here and here. Ignitus and Little Mac, but not really that close to one another, actually. Two different tire compounds. Little Mac is on the mediums, so Ignitus should catch up pretty soon here. Take a look at Zinho sitting in 7th place. Raccoon comes out of the pits in 6th, comes out ahead of Zinho. That's a very good look for them. Zinho on mediums just as well as Raccoon, so Raccoon may have some pressure here as the tires are cold, but I think Raccoon's pace is a little bit quicker than Zinho's. Well, I wanted to know how close Racer would end up to bad guy Callie, and the answer is very close. However, Racer's gonna have to pit again, I believe. Maybe not. I mean, the mediums last pretty long. They last pretty long. They last more than the 12 laps, but looking at their fuel take, I do think they expect to take a second stop. So they're not gonna stay ahead of bad guy here. Akai is probably the closest one that we can see to take a look and see what the difference is going to be between the two strategies up top. Akai, of course, pitting fairly early on to take those mediums, and Bad Guy just pitted, if I recall. Or am I lying? When did Akai pit? Yeah, lap 14, a while ago. That was their in lap. Or out lap, rather. Don't know how the math works. Ooh, Jasmine with a bit of a ugly landing into the pits. Hopefully, I don't think that's going to result in a penalty. I believe the lobby penalties are off, so shouldn't get anything. I don't know if they actually hit the wall or if that was lag, but it looked like they did. And who else was that was in? That was Saltatau who was in, and Saltatau comes out right back in this battle with Raccoon. Ooh, Raccoon kinda, ooh. Yeah, Saltatau's really laggy. It's kind of hard to tell what's going on, but Raccoon kind of messed themselves up going into that corner, outbrake themselves, trying to beat the GTR to the turn. And you see here, just braking really late, ends up having to chuck it in the corner, and Saltatau is able to almost, it looks like an over-under is what happened there. Saltatau, of course, lagged a little, made it look weird, but it looks like Saltatau just easily over-undered Raccoon, because Raccoon outbraked themselves for that turn, trying to stay ahead of the GTR. And so now, Raccoon has to look at this big butt. This big butt is very hard to pass. If you've ever been driving behind someone who knows how to drive that big old washing machine of a Nissan called the GTR, it's so hard to pass them because it's huge. So good luck to Raccoon. I can see why they were trying their absolute best not to let Saltatau get ahead, but now Raccoon's gonna have some work to get ahead of them. Taking a look at the rest of the field, you know what, why don't we take a look at them in order here. We're looking at Akai sitting in first place after the final shuffle with pit stops, people who are on a one-stop strategy. It's only a 2-second gap to Bad Guy, and we know Bad Guy is likely on, yeah, Bad Guy's taking this to the end of the race, and Akai is going to owe another pit stop here. Of course, again, Bad Guy in second, Racer in third, also owes another pit stop, so really in the top three right now. Bad Guy is in the best shape of all of them. And they're all on mediums right now, so it's not even like Racer and Akai can maybe run away from Bad Guy and put some laps on him, or put some mileage on him to create a gap. So I think we kind of know how things are going to turn out within those three. But racing will surprise you. That's what we love about racing. Saltatau, again, hopefully they're just laggy for me, but if they're laggy for anyone else and doing these little blips, it's probably a bit scary to race them. Another reason why Raccoon probably really wanted to be ahead of the GTR here. But Raccoon is unfortunately just barely in the slipstream there. I think possibly out of the slipstream of them. Zinho just behind Raccoon there. In seventh, we're looking at Ignitus. Little Max in 8th on those mediums. Zemanel also on mediums in 9th. Shadow has switched to softs for the rest of the race here and is in 10th place. So Shadow, basically the other Viper took exactly the opposite strategy of Bad Guy Cali in the Viper ahead. Bad Guy started on the softs, ran the race up until out of fuel, and took the mediums to finish out. And Shadow started on the mediums and is going to take the softs to finish out. JP, 11th. Jasmine down to 12th place after pitting. Jasmine, though, another person who's not going to take a second pit stop. So they should gain positions naturally. And right now, they've got nothing but clean air. So they should be able to put some great fast laps together so that they can fully capitalize when a whole chunk of cars jumps into the pit lane. Paco, meanwhile, of course, Paco had to take a second pit stop for fuel and is on those racing softs here. And in fact, looking at the fuel load Paco took, I wonder if they're gonna go for a third stop to maybe take fresh softs or something. I'm not sure But they're on a tear, and you can tell because they made a massive mistake last lap. They dropped a 151 out of a sea of 45s and 46s. In fact, they did a 45 5 on lap 18, their fastest lap. So they're trying to make up for that mistake here. Akai keeping that gap to bad guy pretty manageable. I think it was about 2.1 seconds last time we checked too, so not doing too bad. Akai really obviously put some driving time in at Autopolis this week because they've been on a fantastic drive here. Bad guy, meanwhile, of course, led the race for the entirety of the first stint of the race, and is not too far back for this second stint. Isn't going to have to pit. They got the fastest lap out of 144.485 to be specific. Just another quick one, y'all. Just another quick one. I am going to mute my mic and take a sip of water and maybe give my voice a little rest. Obviously, my mouth needs it. I'm going to keep the camera running, though, on some of these cars and let y'all listen to the sounds of the race. As you can all see, we got a whole slew of drivers jumping into the pits now that second stint now done. Folks coming off of the mediums back onto the softs. Other folks getting a second pair of softs. I think Ignitus was already on the softs and should be jumping back onto those, of course. So now that, of course, puts Bad Guy Cali out of danger being passed by Racer and has only Akai up ahead, who is going to have to pit for fuel at the very least, if my calculations are correct. Ooh, JP with engine damage must have hit the wall going into the pits there. I don't know if they'll come out with it. I don't know if the damage... No, they won't. Okay, so it looks like it's based on how many seconds you have the damage, not how many miles you drive with it. So kind of lucky they're able to come out without the damage still on there, but clearly hit the wall or something on their way into pit lane. Easy to do around here. That pit lane entrance is pretty sudden after that last sweeper, and if you're not paying attention, a little lapse of judgment, you try to make a quick dash across the track to get into it, it's easy to hit the wall instead of hitting, you know, pit lane. So again, a bunch of people into the pits there. Racer, of course, came out in 5th place there after that, and has a lot of work to do to catch up to Raccoon. That said, we got 10 laps left in the race. Raccoon's on mediums, which are already a little bit worn. Racer's on the soft, so the work can be done. But we'll see if it does get done. Bad Guy Callie is sitting in the prettiest position of this race, period. There's just really not an imminent threat for them at all here. Akai, of course, understands that they're going to have to pit, and behind them is Bad Guy Callie, South Tatao, and Raccoon. So depending on how long that pit stop is, they could also lose out on positions on these two drivers right here, who are 17 and 18 seconds behind them, respectively. Hopefully when they jump in, they'll just need a splash of fuel, so it'll mostly be the tire change. But if I'm Akai, I'm trying my hardest to put even more time on these two drivers, understanding that Bad Guy Callie is going to pass me because they don't have to pit again. But these two, perhaps Akai can do something and keep that position. Shadow, meanwhile, again, just taking the single pit. They qualified in, I don't know. Oscar, do you remember where Andy qualified? I believe you said that you were paying attention to them and that was your friend. Oscar, Allen, Issa. I don't remember where your friend qualified. Apologies. This is why I need a co-commentator, someone to watch this stuff. Ooh, Little Mac and Jasmine. Okay, that was like taking candy from a baby, and it's because Jasmine's on mediums and just didn't bother. I see. That makes sense. Because I didn't expect Little Mac to just kind of send it there. And yet they did, and it stuck. Ooh, in fact, again, that's the second time we've watched Little Mac get caught out by somebody who's on mediums, and not realize that that person's going to brake a lot earlier. I think there was a touch there, in fact, between the two drivers. Luckily, Jasmine didn't end up off track there, but you could clearly see there was a bump. Jasmine getting slid a little bit outside. Clearly an accident, though. Little Mac was just behind. Didn't expect Jasmine to have to brake that early, and couldn't get out of the way fast enough. But that's Little Mac. Paco back in the pits again for that splash of fuel and that second set of tires. I don't think that they're going to be able to make up for the fact that they missed that second pit, though. That they missed fueling, rather, on their pit stop. I think that's just over and done at this point. It's finish the race, get what points you can. And you never know what might happen to cars ahead of you, so you keep on racing, of course. Akai's been keeping that gap to Bad Guy so steady. I mean, the lap times are crazy. Akai hasn't dipped into the 44s like Bad Guy has. Bad Guy with a 44.4 as their absolute quickest lap earlier in this race is insane. But, I mean, the lap times aren't dissimilar between the two of these. In fact, I would say that over the last few laps, it looks like Akai's been slightly quicker than Bad Guy Callie. So if it weren't for the pit stop thing, Akai might be holding their own against Bad Guy, and perhaps if Akai hadn't had to fight their way up to second place at the beginning of the race, maybe these two would be racing a lot closer. Maybe, you never know. South Tatao, meanwhile, has put a very good gap on Raccoon. Not far enough that they don't have to worry about Raccoon. One simple mistake can put Raccoon right back into it and have these two fighting again, but there's clearly a gap forming between the two. And so Raccoon also has work to do to get back into the top three here, especially if Akai is able to keep the pace that they're holding on to and make a quick pit stop. The gap between both South Tatao and Raccoon to Akai has grown by about a second each. So Akai doing a really good job there to try to get themselves some insurance to at least come out in second place when they pit, whenever that will be. Just a few laps left here. We're on lap 27 out of 34 here at twisty, curvy, very green Autopolis. else who looks like they're gonna need to pit? Oh, yes, of course, I forgot. Akai still owes a pit stop. I think that's the only one. I think Akai was running it to the end of the fuel tank to get as much of those out of those tires as possible in the weight they save from not having a bunch of fuel on board. But now it's time to go ahead and pit in. So we're gonna take a look. We're gonna stay right here and see where they come out after they pit here. Just a few more corners. Just gonna go through this final sector of the track and jump in there. Again, we're expecting them to get passed by Bad Guy, of course, but can they come out ahead of Saltatau and Raccoon, who are in 3rd and 4th respectively? I believe Akai has better pace than both drivers, but you saw from Racer earlier, Racer and Shadow, it's way easier said than done to make passes around this track, and so it would be in Akai's best interest to just come out ahead of these two and not even have to worry about fighting them. Shadow is not due another stop. Shadow's got plenty of fuel. They're on the softs. They opted to take the mediums very, very deep into the race, and so no, they don't owe another stop. Akai into the pits. Bad Guy up in the first place, passes them, and here come Saltatau and Raccoon, and I don't think, no, Akai's not going to get out ahead of them. They both pass with a huge gap. The pit lane around here is very long. I don't see what the pit delta was, but it looks like it was much too much because Akai has come out 5 seconds behind these two and counting. And so they're going to have an uphill battle here in just 5 laps to try and catch up to these two and possibly get 2nd place back from both of them. So it's not just getting up there. You have to get up there and make the passes. Now, Akai is on racing softs, but we've seen that Raccoon will fight very hard, even if it's to their detriment, as we saw last week. But Raccoon fights hard, fights fair, but it basically means they're probably not going to make this pass very easy for Akai, which is not what we want to see anyway. As spectators, we want to see a fight. We want to see a battle. We hope that Akai gets there so we can see it. We certainly know Saltatau will also fight to hold on to that position. And so it's going to be a matter of, I guess, skill and will at this point. This is a really, really good demonstrator to see what was the better pit strategy. Both Saltatau and Raccoon on the 1-stop strategy, Akai on the 2-stop strategy, came out behind those two, but has a car that's in better shape, has a car that should be quicker. But are we going to run out of time before they can take advantage of that? Can't wait to find out. Alright, let's pay attention. Let's see what's going on with anyone else. Racer still just racing alone here. Still a big, big gap to Akai, and also on softs, but slightly more worn softs. I don't think Racer's going to see much more than 5th place here. Shadow, of course, has gotten themselves up to 6th, which is a great job by them, and doesn't look like they're in much danger here. I mean, Ignitus isn't far away, though. You never know. Again, we still have 5 laps left in this thing, and Ignitus is only 4 seconds away, and has been looking pretty quick in this race. Zinho still in 7th. Little Mac in 9th place. Jasmine. Oh, how do we pass Jasmine? Down in 10th place. Just hasn't recovered in this race at all. If we recall, Jasmine qualified in the top 5 and is now looking to might not keep top 10, because here comes Zeminel on racing softs, and who just set their absolute fastest time of the race of 45.3. So Zeminel is on it right now and looking to get up into the top 10. So Jasmine's going to have to try to defend that position, see if they can hold on to it for the next 5 laps or so. Easier said than done. That said, Zeminel will have not an easy time, won't have an easy time trying to get past Jasmine either, except perhaps if they can make a move in the braking zone, especially after the straight. Both straights, really. That downhill straight after the hairpin, and then the straight, the start-finish straight. Looks like Zeminel's going to try to make that move now. Jasmine kind of crowding them, taps them in fact, but Zeminel able to make the move into the hairpin there. That was a little bit interesting from Jasmine. I don't know if maybe they just didn't know that Zeminel had moved inside of them there, but luckily didn't hip check the McLaren all the way off track or anything like that. So Zeminel is passed way easier than I thought they would be. And so I'm gonna just take my foot out of my mouth, I guess. Bad guy with an absolute monster of a lead, a very comfortable 15.5 second lead. At this point, you know, I keep forgetting I can't say these things. I will jinx it. I can't say these things. I won't finish that sentence. And here comes Akai, having caught up to Raccoon already. And is Akai gonna be able to make a pass here at the hairpin, the hard hairpin right there? They actually do get a little further alongside, of course, being able to break a little bit deeper in there, but they were on the inside of the hairpin. But now Raccoon has the inside for these right-handers, has the position for this sweeping section, and Akai is not going to be able to do anything in this sweeping section. I would just lift early, turn in early to try to combat being in that dirty air and see if there's an opportunity to pass for me in the straight or after the straight. Akai doing a really good job to stay right on top of Raccoon. You can see them moving in ways that, oh, and we have a touch between the two. Oh no. Akai just not really keeping enough room there, not giving enough room rather, and just gets into Raccoon's fender as Raccoon tries to move across to position themselves for the last corner, and that hits Raccoon and puts him in the 4th place, 5th place even. I'm sure the stewards will be taking a look at that. I think it was an accidental move. I mean, technically, Akai was there. It wasn't like Akai was blocking or anything. They were alongside and they were on the outside. In fact, Raccoon moved across the track, and so I think that might be ruled Raccoon's own fault. I think it may be a racing incident. It'll be interesting to see if it gets reported or anything. But Akai able to get 3rd place fairly easily, but what did the battle cost them? Sao now 5.5 seconds up ahead of Akai with only 3 laps to go in this race. And so I think that battle might have cost them too much. But up into podium position for Akai there. Yeah, I think that's Raccoon's fault. Raccoon did cut across. Akai was on the outside, had just moved in close. Akai was doing a really good job to even get closer to the Mazda in that dirty air. And Raccoon was just trying to position themselves for the last corner and perhaps didn't see that Akai already had a nose right there. And so that's done with. Raccoon now with no one to race. In fact, Raccoon's job at this point will be to just cross the finish line with the Mazda intact. Shadow, meanwhile, has an Ignitus right on his rear wing. Ignitus on those softs, of course, so is Shadow. But Shadow is on much more worn out softs than Ignitus. And so it looks like we might have a battle kind of brewing right here. This battle for 6th place in the last couple of laps of this race. We'll come back in a second. Let me just see if anyone else is getting into the weeds with somebody. I don't think so. It looks like these two are the ones to watch right now. So we're going to stay on board. Well, not on board, but we're going to stay on top of these two. See what they got going on for the next lap and a half. Ignitus gonna take a nice wide line to apex late in that hairpin there, just doing everything they can to get closer. Shadow's got to be feeling the pressure because it's working. Raccoon is now almost alongside and might, yes, not Raccoon, sorry, Ignitus is alongside going into the hairpin, and easily is around Shadow before they're even in the braking zone. And so that's that pass done. Wasn't really an issue, it looks like. Easily made the move. Viper with a little tap to Ignitus there, but that makes sense. Ignitus likely had to brake pretty early, being on the inside line, just trying to keep it parked on the apex. No harm, no foul, just a little touch, a little kiss, if you will. And Ignitus has passed Shadow for 6th place. One more lap to go. See if Shadow can maybe come back on Ignitus here. See if they can get that position back after working hard to get up there. Akai closer to Saltatau. 2.7 seconds is the gap now. So Akai clearly with the pace. Throws down a purple sector. In fact, we just saw purple first sector, but I don't think it's enough. I don't think there's enough time. There may have been before the battle with Raccoon, but the battle with Raccoon took a lot of their time, it looks like, because when they were done, the gap to Saltatau was still a giant 5.6 seconds, which is what it was when they came out of the pits. In fact, it's bigger than it was when they came out of the pits. So 1.8 now. Akai really on a tear. Really wants something to happen here, but Saltatau through that final hairpin pretty easily. Now just a few corners left as they are in the final sector here. Akai, of course, gonna have to stay on top of it. You never know. It's not over until the fat lady sings. And it's true. Racing is never over until that checker flag has waved for yourself, at least. Don't think it's gonna happen here, though. Saltatau getting through these corners pretty neatly. Just one more to go. Akai right there. If they had one more lap, Akai might be able to make something happen, but Saltatau through the final turn cleanly. Akai in the slipstream, but isn't going to have enough and is going to have to settle for 3rd place. So as we enter the finishing stages of this race, so far we got Bad Guy Cali up front. No surprise there. Saltatau up to 2nd place with that one-stop strategy. Akai stays in 3rd. MOP in 4th place. Raccoon takes 5th after an unfortunate incident there with Akai. Perhaps they could have kept 3rd. We don't know. Ignitus up into 6th over Shadow. Zinho about to cross the line here in 8th. Little Matt Crocs in 9 with Zeminel. Who is... Oh, Little Mac and Zinho. Okay, Zeminel in 10th place. Jasmine is going to go through the last corner here to take 11th from us. And we've got just a few more seconds to wait for JP and Paco to finish up here. Paco again trying their best to have a final fast short stint, but unfortunately just not worth it. The pit stops around here are pretty long, and having to take that 2nd pit stop in there after their first stint really hurt them. So they will settle for last place. And that's the end of our race, y'all. That is Season 5, Round 2, Division 2 at Autopolis. A good time, I think. Not as many battles as we saw in the last race, but certainly not a boring race by any means. So, that was great watching. Let's see, when is the next one? I'm going to leave you with the next date. It's next Sunday for sure, but the actual track is Spa. So we'll be racing at Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. One of my favorite tracks in the world. A really good track. A very long track. So hopefully we get... sorry, I got a message that I will answer in a second. Hopefully we get a good race there is what I was trying to say. Sorry, guys. But thank you for watching. Really, really good time. Really good racing that we saw there. We'll see you guys next week. Same time. So 8 p.m. UTC. If you're in America, remember we are in daylight savings time here. So our time compared to UTC has changed. On the East Coast, 8 p.m. UTC is 4 p.m. Eastern time, 1 p.m. Pacific. If you're somewhere in the middle, do the math. Anyway, have a good night. Thank you.